Okay, there we go. Apparently, I'm live now. So, hey everyone, Uberman here. Oh, wait, no. No, that's not correct. That is not correct. This is not Uberman's channel. This is the Apptrepreneur's channel. I don't even think Uberman's a channel anymore. It's now Auto Auctions Rebuilt. Anyway, funny what happens when you change the hat, right? So, anyway, folks, I figured I would do this quick little live stream, and this is being done old school. Remember way back when I was first making videos and making them on my Surface RT? Well, I am making this on my Surface Pro right now. And it just dawned on me, there's my beanie. So tell you what, let us just get back into costume, back into character, the way you're supposed to. Anyway, I'm making this on my Microsoft Surface, which I have not done in a very long time because my phone fried. Seriously, my Samsung Galaxy 7 phone, despite only having it for like 1 year, fried. It's toast. It's no longer working. And, well, as a result, I am now waiting for a new phone, which should get here. I'm hearing Saturday, maybe Monday, though. I have to say, not having a phone is kind of weird because with what I do, it does ruin plans. It ruined a much more elaborate New Year's Eve video plan that I had. You can't do anything about it. So it is amazing how dependent you are on phones now. At the same time, it's kind of gratifying to, or liberating, if you will, to not have to be on a phone. Hey, Uniton, how you doing? And Muhammad Al Shamari, welcome. So anyway, we will let this go for another couple minutes before getting on to the main topic. However, in that time, I would like to explain the process for those of you who might not know what it is we do with these live streams and you're intimidated by a potentially hour to 2 hour long video. The thing is, these are live streams we do. I usually start with like a main topic and then people will comment on the topic. I'll respond. Then we sometimes do Q&As. I don't know if there's going to be a lot of that today because it is New Year's Eve and people, despite the fact that they shouldn't be going places, probably will be going places tonight. And so they just might not be here. However, if you see that the video is like an hour long or something, don't worry. It's not going to be an hour for the topic. The topic will take up the first 10 to 15 minutes of the video, and then you can leave if you don't want to stay for the Q&A session. So anyway, the title probably has caught a few people by surprise, and some of you may care, some of you may not care. Hey, Karen, Happy New Year, or almost Happy New Year. Happy New Year's Eve, I should say. Because really, who cares where a YouTuber they watch lives? I mean, seriously, who cares? And I agree. For the most part, I don't care what YouTubers I watch are doing their personal lives. But you know what? It is the end of a very particularly stressful year for everyone. And I figured I would just kind of give like a life update, a reflection of the previous year, and maybe even just a little what I hope to do in the future going forward. So here's the thing. I have lived in Southern California for the better part of a decade now. I moved here in 2010 to start working for Disney. That is the reason I came to Southern California. I grew up in Sacramento, and for the previous 2 years, like I had lost a job in 2007, I believe. And I was applying looking for work, and there was no work to be found. I was frustrated, and even though I loved my friends and my family here, nothing is more stressful than being unemployed for 2 to 3 years. And it's like the second time that I've had to do it. Sometimes things happen. It's usually layoffs in my case. In one case, this particular one hurt though, because in this case, I had a boss who, for whatever reason, did not like me. And he actually discriminated against me. And I actually ended up having to sue this company for back payments on unemployment and a severance that was owed to me. Hey, Tony, how you doing? Lost the phone, by the way, buddy, so Can't call you, just to let you know. Um, so, well, not lost it, fried, but anyway. So, the last job I had in 2007 was not a particularly good one. And as a result of losing that job and probably the fact that I actually took him to court, I made enough money to not have to work for a while. However, it also meant that it was a little bit difficult to get hired. An opportunity came along to work for Disney. What position? I will not say. It wasn't a glamorous position, but it wasn't just a basic cast member either. And I did something that I did not think I would have to do. Uh, I decided to accept the job and move to Southern California. And here's the thing. You've probably figured out that I'm a big Disney nerd at this point. I mean, heck, in most of my videos, there is a huge Princess and the Frog poster in the background. It's signed by the directors, animators, Randy Newman, and it's a prized possession. And I don't apologize for that being a prized possession. That I'm just a Disney fan. So working for the mouse was kind of a dream of mine. And being with Asperger's and thinking that I would never, ever, ever leave Sacramento, I decided to take a chance and move out to Southern California to work for Disney, and that's exactly what I did. And I worked for Disney for about 3.5 years until health reasons forced me to resign my position. I've tried to get back in a couple more times, but it has not been successful. Since I left Disney, I had a couple little odd jobs as well, but that was about the time I seriously started just uploading videos on YouTube. Not because I thought it was going to be a career or anything, but because, well, frankly, I was bored. I was bored. I had a lot of spare time on my hand. There was no Katie in my life. And, here's the thing. You can only watch so many shows and read so many books before you start to feel lethargic. I gained a ton of weight during this time period. I was over 300 pounds, and I just wasn't very happy. Then, well, I started doing Uber. And for the first time in a long time, I was having fun with life again. I was making money. I was good at what I was doing. I enjoyed talking to people. Here's the thing. As much as I harp on Uber for abusing drivers, being a greedy corporation, and being unsafe, and basically doing everything they can to not take responsibility for anything, at the end of the day, Uber was a really cool job. I really enjoy doing Uber, and that's why I always felt so personal that it just that they ended up abusing me and their other drivers so much. And well, there you go. We all know why I harp on them extra hard today. But at the time, I was just doing Uber, and I remember there were some situations the first time I got a negative feedback. What do you do? And I remember looking up the topics on YouTube and not finding a lot of videos. Keep in mind, Uber was kind of a new thing. In fact, when I told people that I was an Uber driver, people actually thought it was the coolest thing in the world. And I even had to explain to people how it worked. Imagine having to explain to people how Uber worked. That's how long I'd been doing this. So I started making, DoorDash videos, because I was also doing DoorDash. And I actually like DoorDash a lot better. But they were the first ones to deactivate me, and they were the first ones that I started ranting about. As a result, those videos started to get views, and I started to get subs. But because I couldn't drive for DoorDash forever, I started talking about Uber, and then I started about Lyft, sharing stories, and then I started commenting on the news, which no one else was doing at the time, and I built myself a, YouTube channel that, in addition to Uber and Lyft, it resulted in YouTube becoming a job, which I never thought would actually happen. So that was interesting. I never thought that would be the case. And so here's the funny thing. Even though about a year into this whole YouTube project, and I was just harping on Uber more and more. I remember we wanted to get rid of Travis Kalanick. Nick wanted, to get tipping. Like there was a time when we were begging Uber to allow a tipping feature in the app, even though the videos were snarky and, obviously a little angry at Uber. The truth of the matter is I was having more fun than ever. I had my own schedule. I was doing this thing. Apparently, I liked making videos, which is funny because growing up, I've always been camera shy, and I don't even like being in front of the camera that much. But that kind of cured me of that stage fright, this camera fright, if you will. And I found out I had a knack for making videos, especially long-winded ones where I could talk for a long time on end. And I'm trying to work on that. Trust me. I don't think you're right. Not every video needs to be 10 minutes. So anyway, I was doing that for a long time, made some new friends, obviously met Katie, and we would date for a while, then I would eventually propose. That video I made where I proposed to her at Penn and Teller's show, where Penn and Teller themselves actually show up in the video, is a highlight for me. That is one of my favorite videos for very obvious reasons, and I love the fact that I can pull that video up and I can show, like, see, I captured proposing to my wife on camera in a little vlog story. And then, of course, my wife laughs how, in retrospect, when I kept saying it's going to be a magical night, an unforgettable night, she didn't pick up that I was planning to propose. So, by the way, the one thing on a side note that you didn't see in that video is when we went to lunch, I had the ring in my coat pocket just in case we couldn't go back to the hotel before the show. And she actually sat on my lap on top of the coat with the ring still in the pocket. And amazingly, she didn't notice that it was there. So that's something you don't see in the video. Anyway, so obviously years go by and I become one of I'm not going to say the number one Uber tuber, but I'm probably in the top 10. Probably. I think that's and the top 10 for the most part is good company to be. There's a couple people in there who are like, maybe they're not so pleasant, but their videos are informative. Well, anyway, the last year has been really, really weird, clearly. The thing about doing YouTube as a living, in addition to obviously the e-commerce and, my little side projects that I have, is that here's the thing. I remember one year Gene Siskel was doing like a speech and he told people that I hope one day you find a job that you truly love, and not just love. You have such a passion for it that you would hate for it to be taken away. And here's the reality. And keep in mind, I'm not saying this to complain. This is not a complaining video. But essentially, my dream job was taken away in the last year. I'd been doing pretty good until about March. March is when views for the channel took a nosedive and subscribers stalled. Now, I'm not the only one in this boat. Almost all of the UberTubers have felt this hit. If you want to know why, you can watch my video, Top 5 Reasons Why You Don't Want to Create an Uber YouTube Channel. I explain it all there. Boy, I've been reminded why I do not like using the Surface for this. The fading in and out is like just, it's atrocious. But again, we make do with what we make do. But yeah, so I'm not the only one, but it was definitely a disappointment because of COVID. And it wasn't just the YouTube channel, by the way. Like, e-commerce sales definitely took a hit for like 6 months. A company that I was doing some work with decided they did not want to take the pandemic seriously, and I might very well share the stressful situation that happened with that and some of the unfortunate health effects that had on me. Not right now, but needless to say, it was a very stressful year. So, and even though I don't want to, again, it's not a complaining video. I have viewers, I have regulars. Some of my viewers are friends now. Even I have Patreon supporters, and I still make enough to make this worthwhile. But I kind of had to make a decision at one point, like, okay, this is financially not doable as a full-time job, so I have to find work, and I have found work, and it's full-time, and allows us to do things comfortably. It does mean that there are fewer videos, obviously, because it is a 40-hour week job, and I've kind of decided at this point, you know what, YouTube is just going to be a hobby, and hey, there's no shame in this. For a lot of people, YouTube is just a hobby. In fact, there are some people who were probably making a lot of money with their, Uber YouTube channels, and they were still driving Uber because they liked doing it. I mean, it's not because, some of them might have claimed that it was because it gave them street cred, but I think it's because they just like doing it. They liked doing Uber, and hey, gave them ideas for videos, and that's fine. As someone who now does not drive for Uber anymore, and who finds the news particularly bleak for the most part, and especially after the final straw that was Prop 22 passing, I definitely decided to pull back on the topic a little bit, and you've probably noticed that very, very much so. You might have noticed that I'm not talking about the gig economy that much anymore. I mean, occasionally the CEO, Dara Khosrowshahi, will say something stupid, but I'm not interested in it anymore, so I don't talk about it as much. I'm starting to talk about games and streaming a lot more because I think those topics are of much more interest and they're a lot more fun. And you're seeing, and if you're a Patreon subscriber, you're seeing more skits. Now, for those of you who don't know what I'm talking about, we uploaded one of the videos that Patreon supporters do get for the first couple months for free. So I mean, eventually a regular viewer will get it, but at that point, so anyway, you can kind of see, and I've been having a lot of fun making those skits with my wife, even if they're nonsensical. She was the one who came up with the idea, like, wouldn't it be, well, I came up with the idea that I'm going to do an unboxing Xbox video, but you're going to take it away in the middle of the unboxing and put it under the Christmas tree. And she's the one who had the idea that, on Christmas Day, we should do a follow-up video where you go to open the gift and you left it in Southern California. That didn't happen, by the way. I have been enjoying my Xbox Series X. Christmas Day came, finally got a chance to play it, and yeah, it's pretty fun. I enjoy it. It's a system. So I'm enjoying making those videos. So going forward in 2020 for the channel, it's pretty much going to become a do whatever. I've got some topics about eBay I want to discuss. There's some topics about Amazon I want to discuss. I discovered a new site or two that I kind of want to review. I'm also going to be ramping up the podcast again. I mean, and the big change about the podcast, the Apptrepreneur show will be coming back, is that one, it's probably going to be a 3-day-a-week thing. I think that's the best way to do news videos, is to do it in podcast, so people can watch it live, comment on it live, and then we can split it up. One thing that is missing, though, is like, I do want the podcast to be on Spotify. I want it to be on SoundCloud. I want it to be on Apple Podcasts. That's going to be the first change. I want it to have an audio version. And with that, I am going to be commissioning a logo for the show. And I'm going to be commissioning a theme song for the podcast. But the biggest change, the one that will really stick out, is I want there to be guests on the podcast. I think it's more fun to talk about these things when you have other people in the room. So that means there will be rotating guest stars on the podcast. Some of them you will be familiar with. Like, Mark will probably join me sometimes, and Cecily will join me sometimes. Driver Man will join me sometimes. Dark Road Run, definitely love hanging with him. And then there might be some people that you don't necessarily know, but I know some of my friends like Dan and Anthony and Marco. I don't think Katie will ever join me. I kind of suspect she's not really into this thing. One of my friends, Amber, she might join me, and so we will do a wide variety of topics, and we will do back and forth. I will pick the host depending on certain topics that would be specialty made for them. So, the podcast will become a main focus and it will be available on audio. But there's going to be one more personal life change for me. You see the title of the video. You're probably wondering what's been going on with that. And I'm 20 minutes in, so I guess I was lying technically that it would only take 10 to 15 minutes to get through this. Sorry about that. I tend to talk a lot. Anyway, so one of the big changes that will be coming, and it's probably not going to be in 2021. It probably won't even be in 2022. But I suspect in 2023, we will no longer be in Southern California. And yes, a lot of it is COVID related. Now, some of you might be saying, "Oh, so you're not making enough money to live in Southern California anymore?" No. I have enough money to live in Southern California. Actually, we're pretty comfortable living wise in Southern California. That is not an issue right now. But Southern California, and this was even before COVID hit, does have one major problem. And that is that property is extremely expensive. Our mortgage is insane. It's insane to the point where we are going to have roommates for the better part of a decade or two in order to fully pay off the house. And while that was logical 8 years ago, I wasn't married 8 years ago. I didn't even think anyone would want to marry me, if I'm being perfectly honest. So I made this deal with the house, and we've had roommates, and it's been that situation for a long time. But now I am married, and now things are getting crowded. And I'm not 100% certain I can keep the house and only have it be the two of us. And that was always the case. And unfortunately, downsizing is not really an option because, of course, the house is worth less now than it is worth a little bit more, but the property has gotten insanely expensive because of stuff that President Trump signed into law that basically made interest rates the lowest they've been in a long time. So it's probably, we were kind of crunching the numbers, and it's like this, I don't think this is going to work. And then there's another thing. Personally, a lot of friends are leaving. In fact, we got married last year, and thank God we got married last year, because boy, I would not want to be getting married this year. Like, we had a wonderful wedding, and that's crazy. So, but a lot of my friends who were, groomsmen for the wedding, they've moved. One of them moved to Canada, not because he's mad at Trump, but because he's a naturalized Canadian citizen, and he lost a job, and he's taken over the family farm. And then another one moved out. This person did have political disagreements with California. The most recent one was actually the person who was the best man at my wedding, and he's been one of my best friends for pretty much since I moved here. He was kind of like one of the first friends I made in Southern California, and he's been the most consistent to the point where until COVID hit, we went to his house every other week. His kids call me Uncle Kevin, and now they call my wife Aunt Katie, even though we're not related by blood. He's decided to leave for Nashville to pursue a career in music. And while there was an option of him coming back, it's not likely. We'll put it that way. It's not likely he's going to come back. Once you set roots somewhere that's affordable to live, and he's got like 5 kids or something, like 5 kids, so it'd be very hard to afford living in California at that point. And not that we're revolving or moving around this one family, but that one particularly hurt. And we started realizing, man, how many friends have left this last year? How many families no longer attend the church we go to? And then, of course, even though I know this will change, there's that little an inconvenient truth that we're living in California, Southern California, and paying Southern California prices without the benefits of Southern California. The restaurants closed. Movie theaters closed. Disneyland closed. Like we have not been able to use our Six Flags or Universal Studios pass for the vast majority of the year. And here's the thing, I'm not complaining that those things are closed. For the most part, they should be closed. I mean, geez, we're having a 9/11 every day. I'm sorry. Those things need to be closed. But by that same token, you know that thing where like when you pay for a service that you're not fully getting out of your full use out of because of something that was outside of your control, and the company says, well, we'll either give you this month free or we'll give you a discount because you could use these features but not these features. I kind of feel like that should be happening in Southern California. We are paying insanely high living prices for a state that right now could basically be anywhere because you can't leave the house. Now, I know that will change, but you look at that, and then you look at the friends, like, I'm almost afraid to see how many of my friends are even still, our friends are still here by the time this is all said and done. There's not going to be many. There really will not. So that was weighing heavy on me. Meanwhile, we decided to quarantine for a month with my parents so that we can spend family time. This is also good because my brother, my actual brother, and his wife have a kid now. And that kid is, my nephew, my actual nephew. And, at one point, I'm going to want to be there for him. Me and my wife do have a couple nieces in Southern California on her family side. Realistically, they'll want to spend time with Auntie Katie and Uncle Kevin for the next 2 years. Then they're going to start entering the teenage years, and they're not going to be so interested in spending time with us anymore. So we've and then we've got this other nephew that is, right now he's not very responsive. But in a couple of years, he will be responsive. And it's like, yeah, I'm going to want to show him movies. I'm going to want to show him Dragon Ball. I'm going to want to play with the chinchilla with him. I'm going to want to be there. So, heck, I might even take him to a basketball game once in a while. And that's going to be hard to do if we're living 8 hours away. So, we've decided that we're going to start wrapping up our little adventure in Southern California. Yeah, we're near some cool stuff, but if the stuff isn't open, it doesn't matter. And even when it does reopen, what's the fun of going to Disneyland if the people you like to go to Disneyland with are no longer there? If we sell the house in SoCal, we can get a bigger house and not struggle with the payments. We can make the payments on our own. Work is remote now. Work is remote. Like, that's going to be the very interesting thing about the future is a lot of jobs that went remote are not going to stop being remote. And so you can now literally work from anywhere. Whether or not the YouTube channel will make, 2015 and 16 level money again that would allow me to stay in Southern California. I don't know if that's the case, but even if it does, the traffic's just terrible right now. It seems crazy that we pay, I don't know, you go and you get like a bagel sandwich and it costs like $7. And it's like, why? It's a bagel, an egg, a slice of cheese, and a slice of ham. And some schmear. It's good, but it's not worth $7. Everything's just so much more expensive over here. And with the friends leaving and the family growing in Sacramento, I think that me and Katie basically decided, we're going to spend the next couple of years winding things down in Southern California. We'll be there for the nieces for the next couple of years. Hopefully things will start opening again next year and we can start saying goodbye to being able to do those things whenever we want. And, not that I'll never go back to Universal Studios again, but it's not going to be in my backyard anymore. it's going to be 7 hours away. So, but that's the other thing. I'm also used to the drive, and I still have enough friends here, and there is family here that we could probably visit frequently. But I think we were kind of like, we kind of feel our calling is in Northern California, not Southern California. And another thing about me is that you might not have known. I try to get like a lot of jobs at studios, and I will still apply for those jobs. I'll probably never give them up, but I don't think nothing's really panned out so far. So it's just reality. Just have to leave. So my parents are getting older. You know, my nephew was just born. It's just we think it's just time to make a change. And again, this won't be in the next year. It's going to be in a couple of years. And hey, when that happens, if I'm still interested in doing YouTube, I mean, shoot, we could be hanging with Tony and Dark Road Run a lot more because they'd be a lot closer. So I think that would be kind of neat personally. But yeah, so that's kind of like my little life updates. I think about the end of the year and where life is going, where this channel is going. I mean, it's actually kind of in 2020 in terms of the channel was actually the most interesting thing because this was where I found out how much I actually love the channel. Once it was not producing the money it used to produce, do you still love doing this even if it's not bringing in money? And the answer is I do still like making videos. I maybe not like making Uber videos as much, but I still like making videos. And once in a while, the CEO will say something stupid. And so I'm going to continue making videos. I've also been debating, and maybe you guys can give me some advice on this one. I'm debating making a trilogy of Apptrepreneur channels because right now I have the Apptrepreneur Media, and the Failed Journalist. I also have Autograph Hound, but nobody really goes there. And I'm thinking like, I'm kind of tired of the Failed Journalist name. I think the joke's worn itself out. So I'm thinking of keeping this channel the Apptrepreneur, calling the Failed Journalist the Apptrepreneur Media, and calling the Apptrepreneur Media the Apptrepreneur Gaming. However, I also like having one channel that's kind of separate from all of this, and I guess I could make a Twitch account, and Twitch could be the Apptrepreneur Gaming channel. So I don't know. Maybe you guys can give advice on that one. But anyway, that's me filling you up on what's going on. Hopefully, you guys have been having a good year, and I guess I'll take some time to respond to some comments. Maybe if anyone has questions or comments. So let's see here. We have Karen here, and we have Team LMDU, someone who I can hang with a lot more if we move back to Sacramento. Now, Uniton F. Fangert says, I work for Disney today. Today is my last day with Disney, laid off due to COVID-19. Well, I'm really sorry to hear that. Unfortunately, some of my friends who are still cast members at Disney, they also lost their jobs, and Disney is not known as a company that typically lays people off. So it was pretty awful to hear that. But that's the theme parks aren't open for months, and this is why I keep like a little middle ground. I mean, yes, it's much safer for that theme park to be closed right now. I don't think you can open it safely. At the same time, when you do it for that long, people lose their jobs, and it's just tough, and it's not a good situation. The vaccination rollout definitely cannot happen any sooner, in my opinion. Team LMDU says, I love the mouse. Yeah, I do too. Karen says, be right back. I need to get some tissues. Oh, I didn't mean to make you cry, but CPA Hustle says, hello, fam. Seems like gig YouTubers took a nosedive around March. Yeah, and I mean, it's really not hard to figure out why. I mean, aside from the fact that for years, the pay has gotten worse. And for years, the overtime had, not the overtime, the old-time drivers had gotten disillusioned. And not only over years was there less and less good things to say about it, but in March, Uber basically came to a standstill. There's no new Uber drivers who are looking up the topic. There's just none of that. So, what happens? Well, you don't get new viewers, and the people you do have, they might not even be driving for Uber anymore. So they're not interested in the topic. By the way, everyone here, if you want to give a thumbs up, feel free to do so. So I'm not surprised that the UberTuber community really took a nosedive in general. I mean, really, the only way to keep up the views was to do drivers getting beat up videos and drama videos, because when it came to Uber, DoorDash, and Postmates itself, people just did not care anymore. Now that said, I might do some of those videos, not the drivers getting beat up videos, but like, you know how many candid camera videos there are of people being jerks to store employees who just ask them to wear a stupid mask? I think I might comment on more of those videos because you know what, here's the thing. You don't want to wear a mask, fine. Order your stuff online. You don't believe the masks do anything, fine. I think you're wrong, but fine. But go into a store where you know you are required to wear a mask, and to curse out the nice lady behind the cashier because register because she tells you you have to wear a mask, and you start effing her out. I'm sorry. These people need a talking down to, and I might do more of that because I'm just becoming increasingly frustrated with that situation. Let's see here. CPA Hustle says corresponding with COVID-19. Yes, the problems that I had with the company I was working with, it was completely related to COVID-19. And I'm not, this deserves its own video. It really does, because it's such a crazy story. But this company basically did not want to act like the COVID-19 was a serious thing. And in fact, not only did they not want to acknowledge it was a real thing, but they went out of their way to make people feel uncomfortable while working. They would do things like, instead of putting people into separate offices, they would fill those offices up with junk. When workers walked off the job and demanded that a work from home policy be written, the HR lady wrote a policy that said she could work home, but no one else. Stuff like that was extremely stressful and extremely cruel, in my opinion. Like, it was just, we didn't even know how to handle it back then, and they were basically not following even the most basic things. So, like I said, I'll share that video someday. Maybe it'll be a 2001 topic. Maybe by the time people are getting vaccinated and this thing is close to being over, maybe in the summer, who knows? Maybe I'll feel like relieved enough to go like, well, hey, now that this is all behind us, let me tell you about this company I work for. And no, I cannot tell you what the company is, for obvious reasons, because they could potentially try to sue me and say that I am making it up, which, even though I'm not, just, it's just amazing what you have to do. And so, yeah. Real Rideshers, hey, welcome, says, hey there, Kevin, leaving CA? Seems like many are. Well, no, I'm not leaving CA. There's a reason I titled the video Southern California as opposed to California. I'm not going to Texas. I'm not going to Vegas. I'm not going. I really wouldn't want to go to New York right now. I think New York and California are the two places that people are moving out of the most. But yeah, I'm not moving out of any of those places. Not moving to any of those places. I just might go from one spot of California that's kind of lost their mind and go to another part of California. And by the way, this part of California seems to open the movie theaters up sooner. So just a thought. But anyway, so I think that's all the comments. Yeah, that's all the comments. So 39 minutes. Yeah, I get 40 minutes. Yeah, that was a long time. So anyway, if you want to ask a question or leave one more comment, now's your time to do so. Otherwise, it appears, oh, hi, Brian, how you doing? Well, we're kind of wrapping up, unless there's a question you want to throw out there real quick. But otherwise, we're pretty much wrapping this up. And yeah. But I've already got some topics I want to discuss in the future. I want to discuss the stimulus. I want to talk about DoorDash stock, and boy, aren't you glad you did? I hope no one invested in that. Like, what is that even at right now? Let me see. Oh, that's dreadful. That's dreadful. That is dreadful. That thing opened at $189, now at 142. That's bad. I I hope nobody in here bought DoorDash stock. Want I want to talk about the KFC console, things like that. So anyway, it's going to be an interesting year. I know we normally do a little sketch thing, but 2020, this is just how we had to do it this year. Anyway, I hope you all have a safe, fun night. Maybe we'll do another random live stream late tonight because I'm not going to a party. I'm not. So if the whole family decides they want to go to sleep before midnight, what the heck? So like Brian says, my two stocks have been doing great. Well, Brian, I'm just gonna reiterate, it's wise to have more than just a couple stocks. Buy some Coca-Cola or something, but diversify the portfolio. Like with my stocks, never more than 5% for a company. Never more than 5%. Except for Coca-Cola and Apple because they're pretty safe. But anyway, all right, folks. LOL, I know. Yeah, hey, folks, Brian might be a guest commentator on the new podcast when we have a episode that's like stock heavy or something like that. So anyway, we're gonna leave that right now. For anyone who might be watching this in the future, I'd like to know what you think of any of this. What's your year been like? In fact, don't even talk about my life. What's your year been like, and what major changes have come, good or bad? What have you found that you've had to deal with unexpectedly, and what are your thoughts about the future going forward? I would like to know because this has been tough on all of us. So anyway, thank you, Muhammad Khalil. Happy New Year to you too and your family. But you know the drill. Comment below, like, favorite, share, subscribe, and as always, flame responsibly. And hopefully, I never have to do a live stream on the surface again. It always has this humming sound. But anyway, stay safe tonight.